Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Joe, and this old girl, she's my home, Toko. She's a 1982 Ed Monk trawler with a monster in her belly. I've spent the last few years aboard making upgrades, and now she's ready to set off over the horizon. So join me as I say goodbye to life on land in pursuit of my dreams at sea. Hop on board to see how much freedom I can live for. Greetings, Crown City Trawler fans, and welcome back. I'd like to cordially welcome you to episode 1 of Captain's Corner. So this first episode is just all about why I wanted a boat in the first place. We'll get into a little bit more about the things I needed to know at that time in later videos that'll kind of trickle through some of the lessons learned. But basically the factor that got the ball rolling was when I moved back to the US in 2019. It was really the first time that I ever was paying my own rent as an adult, which is a little funny to think, but back it up. High school, I was living with my parents. College, I was on scholarship. I did ROTC with the Navy in college, so that's how I paid for school and housing then. And then when I went to Japan, housing was just included, so I never really even had to worry about that at all. And then coming back to San Diego was the first time that I was using my own money to pay for where I was living. And I had a really nice 2-bedroom apartment right next to Tourmaline Surf Park in North PB with a friend of mine, and on paper it was sweet. It couldn't be any better. I could walk to the beach. I was surfing a lot. It was just a city of young people, tons of things to do, places to go, food to eat, all that. But there was just something inside of me that was unsettled, and I couldn't really articulate it at the time. I don't think I realized it necessarily at the time, but I was super cooped up by the fact that I was paying for a place that I couldn't change, and frankly that I wasn't actually spending much time in at all. As with so many hobbies, in the water and around the water, an apartment was really just a place to eat and sleep. So I was just watching $1,700 disappear every month, and it just couldn't justify it. So I started looking into other options. What can I do? I can own a home. Don't want to do that, especially in Southern California. It's like at least a $500,000 investment that I just, at this point in life, don't have much interest in. Second option was, kind of similar, just rent further away. But getting into affordable housing in Southern California, you got to go way inland. It was just going to take me away from the water and all my other hobbies and friends, so that was off the table. So then I started thinking about some less conventional home ideas, and the first thing that came to mind was van life. I had a van in Japan that was certainly nothing you could live in, but it was an awesome little weekender vehicle that I had a ton of fun in, some great trips. So I thought, you know what, maybe I'll get a van. And so I started doing research and checking it out and watching a lot of YouTube, and I was like, this is awesome, I can do everything. But then when I got down kind of to the brass tacks of it, it's not a ton of space. It's pretty expensive. A lot of these fully kitted out camper vans and stuff, you're looking at $100,000 or more. And I didn't know where I'd be keeping it. And that was really the big one, was I started to think, I'm gonna end up basically parking this thing on base at work all the time, and then really I'm gonna be living at work, and that's really not appealing either. So I was hanging on to hope there, thinking about it, but wasn't gonna pull the trigger. And then I went to Newport, Rhode Island for a couple months in the summer of 2019, I guess it was, and I met a handful of people. A couple of my instructors were sailors, and for the first time I kind of saw the world, the boating world, particularly sailing, but I saw the boating world and the possibilities that exist there for a home. And it was on a trip I did. My instructor came into class and he said, "Hey, I told my friend I would help him sail back from Martha's Vineyard to Newport this weekend, and I can't do it. Does anybody want to help out? Anyone want to do it?" And I think he was joking when he said that, but I immediately raised my hand and was like, "Oh, I'm so down. A day on a boat sounds like fun." So he said, "Okay, talk to me after class," and I got in touch with his friend who had a Freedom 45 sailboat, which are really pretty cool boats. Check them out if you're interested in carbon fiber masts. But so he paid for me to ride over the ferry to Martha's Vineyard from Newport, and then I stayed on board that night, and the next morning we sailed back from Martha's Vineyard to Newport, which is about an 8 or 10 hour sail, I can't remember. But that was the first time I was on a boat that was designed for extended stays, if you will. So I thought, you know what? This is what I need to do. And it almost immediately, the van life thing went out the window, and I knew I got to get a boat and live on it. So I started doing tons of research, and what I've told a lot of people, and some of you guys actually who have messaged on Crown City Trawlers, the first place I recommend looking for answers is in books. The books are, because the people who write sailing books and liveaboard books are no nonsense people. So they're going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, like everything in between. A lot of boat authors are very meticulous people, and they really break it down for you in a way that's simple and easy to understand, but also says, hey, this is not like living anywhere else. So you gotta spend some time, dig into the books, and then the second thing I'll tell you is go talk to people on the docks, talk to people who are doing what you think you want to do, and see how realistic it is, what they did to get there, what they would do differently. Just pick their brains, steal some experience, and get some advice. And then the third thing I recommend is going to YouTube. And the reason I say that third is just that there's a lot on YouTube that is very romantic, or potentially just partial truths. They don't show you the bad that comes with the good, or I don't know, but I think, well, I know some YouTubers make a lot of money from their content, so you just got to get information from everywhere, because what's feasible for you and what your realistic life and work and income are is going to be different from the average YouTube content creator. So there's just a difference in lifestyle that needs to be recognized before you can take all that they say as truth for you. But yeah, so very shortly after getting into the research, I realized I can do this. It's gonna be hard, but not that hard. It's gonna be expensive, but doesn't have to be that expensive. More on that in a later video. And it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna meet my needs and requirements of being a home that's mine, that I can change and grow into and fix and update and go on trips aboard. But it's not going to restrict me in the ways that having a mortgage would restrict me, or that being in one small compact van would restrict me. So it really became the obvious only answer to all of the things I was looking for. So here I am, armed with the knowledge that I gotta live on a boat. It's the answer. It is the answer to my prayers. It's where I want to be. It's where I belong. I'm gonna do it at all costs. Maybe not all costs if it's like killing the budget, but at least like I'm gonna give it my best shot, because living on land is just not doing it for me anymore. So that leads us to episode 2, which is going to be a discussion of how to find a boat, how I found this boat, what I compared to, and why I came back here to Toko, which was the first boat that I ever looked at. So if you're enjoying this, again, please put a comment down for more information that you would like to know, and I'll add that to the list, and hopefully get into more involved stuff here pretty soon in the future. Stick around for episode 2.